Hello, and welcome to Season 4 of the Wedding Whisperer podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Burton, wedding concierge and owner of Simply Love Studio, coming to you from the heart of Central Kentucky. Around here, weddings are more than a single day. They're about family tradition, a little bit of chaos, and a whole lot of love. And my job is to help you navigate all of that with clarity and confidence while staying on budget. At Simply Love Studio, I help couples plan their weddings for free, connecting you with the right vendors, realistic timelines, and thoughtful guidance so that you can enjoy the process. This season, we're diving deeper into real connections, what works, what doesn't, and how to plan a wedding that truly feels like you. Whether you're newly engaged, deep in planning, or just love a good behind the scenes wedding story, you're in the right place. You may be familiar with Bayou Bluegrass Catering, but they've had some changes recently, and we are going to talk through those today with event coordinator Lacey. We're actually going to introduce one of their newest venues to you. Lacey, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Lacey, before we dive in to all the things, I want to talk a little bit about you. I always like to have an introduction to our guests. I talk a lot about how we're such a small, tight knit community, and I'm sure I can probably learn things about you too, but it's always good for our couples and parents to kind of know who they're hearing from, who they're working with. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm 28 years old. I am originally from Alabama, born and raised there, but I've been in Kentucky for about 4 years now. I grew up with a grandmother who was a wedding planner, and I worked alongside her basically my whole life, planning family events, weddings, corporate events, social gatherings, things like that. So that's kind of where I got the love for it. I started out in college doing hair and makeup for weddings. So that was kind of what introduced me to it by myself, like to start my own career with it. And then I kind of fell in the right hands, met the right people, and I started working with an event planning company in Atlanta. We did high-end luxury weddings there, and I just kind of found a passion for it, figured out this was my niche, what I'm good at. So I'm sticking with it. And now here I am in Kentucky so many years later with, 10 years in the hospitality industry and almost 6 in the wedding planning industry as well.
I did not realize that you had that much experience. Tell me a little bit about joining your role at Johnson Hospitality.
I was working events as an event bartender at Manchester Reserve before Bayou Bluegrass Catering kind of took over the leasing of the space there. And when they did, my boss, kind of recommended, he was like, this is the perfect door for you to open to kind of get back into that business here since you've moved up here. I've been with them about a year. And within the past year, we've completely rebranded the company from just being a catering company to being a full rounded hospitality company to meet all of your event needs.
A lot of times I will get couples and especially moms that are like, we just really want all inclusive. We just want our venue to do as much as possible. And honestly, we didn't really have a lot of that until you have kind of rebranded and kind of changed some things, added some more people to your team.
Absolutely.
I'm excited that you can offer that, especially for couples that are coming in from out of town that don't have a lot of connections here, don't know people.
Yeah, it's been a really cool thing to see the company expand so much that it's kind of been something that we have to do because we were always more than just a caterer, but being able to like officially provide those services to the clients has just kind of changed the game for us.
Absolutely. You were just Bayou Bluegrass Catering. You still have the catering portion of it.
Yes.
You just also now have a separate division for your venues. And most people that are listening to this are going to be familiar with Round Barn, which is off of Red Mile. You have Copper Roo, which I think is one of the most underrated venues in Lexington.
For sure.
We've got Limestone Hall. Those are the ones that people probably recognize the most. A lot of people still don't know that Manchester Music Hall offers weddings.
Yes.
They can do weddings there. You have that. And then you also manage.
Yes.
Hey, we are going to be talking about one of your newest ventures. This is kind of your little project, your little baby.
Our new venue is called Elderwild at the Gorge, and she has been my little project, my little baby over the past 8 to 10 months. Back over the summer, we got the offer to take over the venue, and Shanna and Trevor have always loved the venue because we've done a lot of catering, a lot of event coordination out there for the space before that. It was previously known as Hemlock Springs, so we took it, completely rebranded the space. They gave it to us with a clean slate, and they kind of gave me the creative freedom to decorate the entire place and furnish the entire place myself, which is really awesome because I just feel like I have a strong personal connection with the space now. But she is a stunning venue with an awesome nature backdrop. It's just surrounded by the rolling hills of the geological area of the Red River Gorge, basically. So it's right up my alley as someone that spends a lot of time there, does a lot of hiking and camping there. And I think that that reverberates with a lot of clients that are coming and looking at that space out there too.
How far of a drive is it from like Hamburg?
I would say about an hour.
It's one of those, like, I've been out there several times and I don't really think about the time. I'll put it in my GPS to see how long I need to allow. But it's such a pretty drive. It's such an easy drive that you just don't even think about it.
It's right off the Beattyville exit. As soon as you kind of pass through like Stanton, you kind of get into Campton and Rogers. And it is a little ways off the interstate, but it kind
Mhm.
of gives that more private, intimate feel of you actually being in nature once you get to the venue.
You said you had changed some things since you had taken over. I'm going to guess that some of the people listening to the podcast have probably been there as a guest before. So, if someone has been to the property before, walk me through a little bit of the changes and upgrades that you've done.
With us starting as a clean slate, it's going to look completely different to someone who's been there in the past. But we've done some major decor based off of being able to kind of play off of that nature aspect of the outside. So when I was decorating the place, I kept in mind earth tones, cool tones, lots of bright lighting, natural light coming in through the windows, plants, just a lot of like gold and antique touches that kind of just fits the vibe of the surrounding area. The bridal suite is literally one of my favorite rooms in there. There's so much space, and we have, just like really nice, comfortable seating to make that, get ready hours of the wedding day. They're so stressful, just feel a little bit less stressful and feel like you're kind of at home. And then I also took an area upstairs that used to kind of be a storage area, and I turned it into a breakfast nook for the clients. So I'm going to be able to provide a 6 to 8 person seating table for them to have breakfast or lunch or sit down and have a cup of coffee. Um, Possibly provided by our catering company as well. If they're there all day from 7 a.m. until 11 o'clock at night, you want to sit down and be able to have a second to yourself. So just trying to provide like little nooks and crannies of each space in the venue where it just feels comfortable and natural. I also took the groom suite and we kind of took that, Kentucky bourbon turn, and we turned it into a place where the guys can sit down on a nice brown leather couch, play a game of pool, enjoy a nice glass of specialty bourbon or a cigar that we're going to start offering that the guys can kind of add on. So they can buy, like a bottle of Blanton's. And when they get there, they have it with rocks, glasses, and ice and scoops in there for them to be able to have their bourbon and cigars laid out where they can go outside and take awesome pictures. There's just a lot of storage too that I've opened up to kind of keep things hidden away to feel less clustered. We custom built our tables for the reception space as well too. They're big farm to table, like wooden stained wide. I wanted them super wide so we can comfortably seat people, but still have decor and chargers on the tables. We're trying to not overdo the decor because, like I said, the space outside does it for you. Definitely just trying to make it seem like even when you're in the building, you're still outside and a part of nature there.
You touched on something that I talk about in a lot of my podcasts, providing breakfast for everyone that is on property. I am a big fan of feeding your bridal party during the
Yeah.
wedding day and any parents that might be on site. Our goal is for them to not get hangry because when people start getting hangry, we know what happens. Being able to provide one more service for them because most likely they have stayed close by. So there's not going to be a McDonald's drive through for them to just run through. One of the other things that I really love about the property is you can make it a casual event or you can make it a formal event. It really has the look to be
Yes.
both. And I think that that's something that is very appealing to it.
I think so too, because of the fact that we're having people literally from all over the country who are leads right now for us that we're doing tours and discussing weddings for the future with, because the area is a place that brings in people for destination weddings. I did a tour last week with somebody from Pennsylvania. I did a tour last week from somebody from Oregon. We have people who say their wedding guests are coming in from Australia because they met them climbing
Mhm.
here and they became best friends and have known them, throughout their relationship with their partner. And it's a place that needs to be versatile. And with me having Johnson Hospitality as my source of rentals and catering and bar services and things like that, then I have the resources to dress it up or dress it down. We can make it kind of casual for it to be a campfire hang with your family and friends, or we can drape the heck out of the place and make it stunning for kind of a more black tie affair.
People are always shocked to learn how many destination weddings we truly
Yeah.
have here. We're in such a neutral location in the US on the East Coast, and we're right off of the interstate. We have horses, beautiful farms, and we have a lot of couples that met at UK. They want to come back here. And we also have your nature lovers that want to be out in the middle of nowhere. They want to have all their guests out there and they want to center it
Yeah.
around that. So I always love hearing that we have couples coming in from Oregon and Pennsylvania
Yeah,
doing tours.
absolutely.
We talked a little bit about the inside of the venue. One of the biggest selling points of the property that has always been there, even with the previous company, is the ceremony site.
Absolutely.
It is so unique, and I don't know of anything else like it in our area. Someone has not seen what the ceremony site looks like, and they are just listening to this. Walk me through what they can
I
experience.
will never forget my first time going out to see the space, because, of course, the reception area is awesome, but the moment that I walked down to the ceremony space, I was like, "Oh my god, I wanna get married here." It is just right in the middle of a beautiful wooded area. The pavilion is, like, the perfect color where it just kind of blends in, but also stands out at the same time. The benches that they have for guest seating are literally winding through the trees, almost to look as if they were, originally there already, that they kind of grew there. So when you walk up there, it's very whimsical. It's very, just like kind of feels like you're in a fairy tale. I mean, it's definitely a lot of brides' dreams, and I see it on their faces when they go and see the space, because it's just really pretty, and you have to see it with your own eyes to kind of get the feeling. But I mean, it's something out of a movie in my eyes.
Saying it's something out of a movie, I feel like a lot of people have kind of compared it to like a Twilight.
Yes.
I've never seen
Yeah.
Twilight, so I don't know, but I've heard
I
that
feel like people
before.
hear that and they're like, "Vampires and werewolves, what do you mean?" But it's more about the wedding scene in Twilight. There's, tons of wisteria and florals and just like a really pretty nature backdrop there. So we have had a couple Twilight weddings there. And then I actually just booked my first wedding a couple months ago there, and she wants to do a Twilight themed with like the purple and white wisteria hanging from the trees and lots of pretty draping. So I'm super excited about that. It fits the vibe.
So when you pull on the property, you have a gravel parking
Yes.
lot, and then they will walk to the ceremony site. How far is
I
that?
would say it's a little over 100 yards. It's a little
Okay.
bit of a walk for my girls that are in hills and kind of for those elder guests that are there, but we do offer golf cart rentals if you've got that many people doing it. I personally will cart you back and forth myself if I have to. But most of the times we just have people that literally like they have a nicer car in the family, and that's kind of what they use to transport people back and forth. It's not an awful walk because, like you said about the drive there, it goes by quickly because it's such a beautiful surrounding that you're walking through. But it's a little hop skip down the road. So like I would say the venue's like here, and then you walk about 110 yards into the woods, and that's where the ceremony space is.
And like I've walked it several times. It's so quick that I just, I'm always talking to
Yeah.
whoever that I had never really actually thought about how long it was, but it's not like you're going to get tired or
No, no, no,
anything
no, no,
walking
and it's
it.
covered too. The entire walk is basically shaded too. I've had a lot of brides be like, "Well, I'm worried about our guests getting hot," and I'm like, "It even if it's 90 degrees in Lexington, where we're at in those winding hills and in between those kind of mountainous parts and all, it's just a lot cooler there, anyways, too."
Only ever seen ceremonies at the one location. Is that the only location, or has somebody wanted to do it anywhere else on property? I mean, honestly, it's beautiful. I don't know why they would, but sometimes people have other
I feel like a
opinions.
lot of people come specifically for that ceremony space, so I haven't had anybody want to change that up, but with, like, rain plan wise, or if someone did want to use the reception space, it is big enough to accommodate doing a ceremony in there and then kinda ushering people out for a cocktail hour to do the flip for the room for the reception space as well.
Once the ceremony has ended, your guest typically will walk back to the pavilion for cocktail hour.
We got some bourbon barrel tables that are our cocktail tables right now with stools that we can kind of set up. We also have a lot of soft seating you can rent. I've seen people want to do it in the reception space already, so that way they can kind of have their food away from the outdoors. I've seen people do it right outside of the reception area where the garage door is on that gravel spot with fire pits and yard games. And then people kind of keep it under the pavilion too to kind of hide away the reception space. I've seen it done several times, but my brides that I have now, a lot of them are wanting to do it out in that little pavilion area. And then once cocktail hour is over, bringing in people through the garage doors.
One of the benefits of the property is you have bathrooms on site that are normal bathrooms. You do not have to rent bathrooms.
So we've got one in the bridal suite, which is awesome for the girls. Um, Tons of mirrors as well in the bridal suite too. But bathroom wise, just that one in there. And then in the reception area by the bar, we do have a men and women's air conditioned bathroom.
We talked a little bit about the property, but we haven't talked a ton about the pavilion. What is the capacity on the inside?
So our max capacity is 120 tables. We have 12 of them. They comfortably seat 10. I would say we're trying to keep it at that range, not only for like, venue safety regulations, but also just to keep the venue that intimate, close knit vibe, because that's what a lot of people are looking for out there. And I also was in love with hearing that that was the, max cap, because that is like the perfect size wedding to me.
Especially with couples coming from out of town for destination weddings. You don't see those 200, 300 person destination
Absolutely.
weddings very often. You see the 75 to 100 on a regular
Yes,
basis.
absolutely. I don't think I've had anybody come in that has asked for anything more than 100 so far yet. I hope that we do get those, because I would like to test my limits with the capacity of the space. But it's just really nice to have those intimate weddings because I feel like you just get to be more personable with the guests. They just have a better experience. It's not as stressful when you're dealing with 300 or 400 person weddings.
Where does the bridal party stay before the wedding? Where do your guests stay? What lodging options are close by?
I get this question a lot. Anytime that clients come, they're like, do you guys have lodging on site? And we don't personally have lodging on site, but literally on the same road, there are over 10 to 15 cabins and Airbnbs that are rentable through just Airbnb, Verbo, whatever, booking.com. But I was looking the other day, there are literally over 1,000 Airbnb cabin rentals from any size of 4 to 6 people, for 2 people, or for even your entire bridal party for up to like 30 to 45 people to stay at just in the Campton area. So, I mean, the Red River Gorge is big, but not really. I mean, you go a couple exits down and you're in Stanton and Slade, and there's even more places to stay there. I mean, there's so many unique places to stay. I never had an issue helping somebody kind of find something that fits their needs. But right now, I'm hoping to kind of in the future, once we get more established, to get some partnerships with some places around there so that way we can offer those as preferred places to stay for our bridal party.
We talked about you being all inclusive. So that means it comes with tables, chairs, and linens.
Yes. With our 12 farmhouse tables, I'll also provide you a sweetheart table. You get the cocktail bourbon barrel tables as well. It comes with red chivalry. They're kind of like a copperish, darker red color. They're really nice, fit the space. Ivory seat cushions. And then it comes with polyester floor length linens and your polyester linen napkins as well. All of that is included with your venue rental.
Of course, the bar. The bar is always going to be through Bayou Bluegrass
Yes,
Catering.
absolutely. That's just to kind of keep it insurance and legality purposes wise for us to be able to kind of handle that without having outside bartenders come in. We offer some awesome bar packages though, where we can fit any type of customizable menu that a bride and groom wants. We can do signature drinks, we can do beer and wine packages, we can do hosted, we can do consumption, we can even do cash card if that's something you're considering for your wedding. So we offer all the ways, but it will be through Bayou Bluegrass every time.
But they have the option when it comes to food to either use Bayou Bluegrass or bring in their own
Yeah, so they
caterer.
can use one of our two companies, Bluegrass Time and Table or Bayou Bluegrass Catering, or they can do offsite catering. When we were kind of opening the venue, we didn't want to take away the option of using someone in the Gorge because we are so far away. We still do a lot of catering out there. I have a bride right now that they're wanting to do Miguel's Pizza because they met there and went on their first date there. So they're going to want that there for their wedding. wedding, you know?
I feel like City Barbecue has been out there a
Absolutely.
lot in the past few
Yeah.
years. So my guess is they will probably be out there some as well. You touched on your other catering company. That was one of the things I meant to talk about in the beginning of the podcast too. So while you just hit on it, we have Bayou Bluegrass Catering, which is your primary catering company. I would say your everyday, we can, up the ante a little bit on that. But you have introduced more of a farm to table concept over the past year under your new brand.
When we transitioned and rebranded into Johnson Hospitality Company, that is basically our umbrella company. And with us being previously known as Bayou Bluegrass Catering, it's so well known. The company does so well. So, of course, we're going to keep her. But we wanted to be able to offer a little bit more farm to table, kind of higher end, locally sourced ingredients for a customizable menu for those brides and grooms that want something different instead of just having that Cajun Southern flair food. It's growing and it's awesome. We got to try the new menu and everything recently. The food is absolutely fantastic, and I'm very excited for anybody that gets to try it anytime soon because our chef team there is just coming up with some really awesome stuff.
Do you find, even not necessarily specific with this venue, but just like venues in general, do you see that the couples want to kind of have themed food to go along with their wedding? Or maybe if they're doing destination, they want to do Kentucky Southern. If they did Twilight, is there like food that would go along with that?
It's very specific to each client. It's hard to say that it's more this or more this, especially with us having the option to kind of customize a menu to each client. Even if you see something that you want and it's not on our menu, we will do what we can to make it work for you. I will say it's very prominent that people are going to want that Southern fried chicken or that barbecue brisket, with some Southern sides and cornbread muffins. But I would say, here recently, we did a full Peruvian menu not long ago. I mean, if you bring something in and you say that that is what you want, then that's where it's kind of Bluegrass Time and Tables time to step in and kind of customize that menu and they get to kind of have that creative freedom of being able to play around with those new things. Um, I would just say it's definitely just kind of what each client wants. Like with my Twilight wedding that's coming up, they're doing a full Southern buffet for that. So, just kind of what what each person wants, honestly.
I meant to pull this up before we recorded. I feel like the venue under the previous name actually went viral several years ago. Like maybe People Magazine, something along those lines for a Game of Thrones
I do
wedding.
think that was
Um,
featured in something. I think I've heard about that. I wanna find the pictures now so I can see it because I'm a big Game of Thrones girl.
I will see if I can find that. I'm sure it's out there. I feel like they had like made their own custom chair.
Oh,
I will try to find that. So if you're listening to this, I'm going to try and find that and post it. Of course, anyone that is listening to this, the one thing that is going through their minds right now is what does this cost? Do you get it for the whole weekend? How does pricing work? Do you still have dates available for fall of 26? How far out are you booking? All of those kind of things.
so, like each of our venues that we have that are in Lexington, we do have different pricing for peak season and off season. For Elderwild, we're also offering micro boutique wedding packages, elopements, things like that. But say you come to me and you're like, I have 120 people. I want to book in the middle of October, which is peak season, and I want it for Friday and Saturday, then you're going to get that for a flat rate of 7K. That is, you will have it all access Friday to set up, do decor, rehearsal dinner, and then you get all access on Saturday. If you're just wanting a Saturday, then it's 5,500. If you're wanting it on just a Friday or just a Sunday for those kind of non-Saturday weddings, then you're looking at 4,000. That's peak season. So then off season, January to March, July through August, the super cold months of December. Um, Fridays and Sundays are 3K, and then Saturdays are 4,500. And then if you want to bundle the Friday and Saturday, then it's 6,000. And then we only require a 50% deposit to be able to hold your date. So I'm locking in those prices right now for even my 2027 and 2028 brides. So if they pay that deposit, that's what they're getting.
One of the things that I always try to encourage my couples to do is to book the Friday before, if at all
Absolutely.
possible. Even even if you don't even need it for a half a day, you still have that evening to do rehearsal, to bring stuff in, get it out of your car, unload, and have rehearsal dinner there. They can bring in Miguel's, they can bring in city barbecue that night and have Southern food from you the next day. There's so many things, and you don't have to haul people around. You don't have to move them from point A to point B because that's when you start losing people. "Oh, I forgot this at the cabin. Oh, let me run back here," and then you're waiting on them somewhere
For
else.
sure.
I always try to keep everybody as close together as I can. So if you have it in the budget, try to rent it the night before as
I think
well.
that that extra 5 or 6 hours of being able to be there the day before takes so much stress off of you the day of. If you can go ahead and get your favorite table set up, if you can go ahead and get, your memory photos or your photo booth, or go ahead and just put your personal items in the bride's suite or the groom's lounge, that takes off so much stress and time the day of and allows you to just kind of sit back and relax and actually enjoy the day.
Especially if you are a DIY bride and you have tons of decor
For
and
sure.
stuff. And speaking of decor, that part of the umbrella at Johnson Hospitality now is you actually have a coordinator and florist on staff. They can actually add Madison services along with that just to kind of have it all there together. Walk me through some of the things that Madison can do for the venue just to make everything all inclusive and easy for
So
people.
I've been working with Madison from the very beginning since they kind of opened Bluegrass Blooms and Event Co. Madison is just a visionary when it comes to planning weddings, coordinating the day of. She's also our in-house florist, like you said, and she is just spectacular at making a client's vision come to life. She'll work with you with your budget. She will send you a mood board. I have watched her do the planning processes for clients from the very start to, the very end of the event, even a year out, year plus out. She's great at doing your seating chart, table numbers, draping, any type of candle or table lighting that you need. She's just super helpful, and she's a great addition if you're wanting to take even more stress off yourself that day. When it comes to florals for Elderwild, we don't require you to use her, but of course she's our preferred vendor and she's fantastic. But you don't have to use her if you have somebody else in mind or you want to use somebody from the area.
Actually did not know that she could do
Yeah.
draping. That's good to know. There are a few people in this town that will A, will do it, and B, can do a good job while doing it. It's a hard job, and people have no idea how hard vendors work to get it to look perfect. Being out in the Gorge area, I feel like some couples and even guests probably want to bring their dogs with them. What are your policies on having dogs on the property?
As someone who could never imagine my wedding day without my fur babies there, I absolutely welcome it. As long as your dog's well behaved and you've got somebody taking care of it, it's not me that's taking care of it. I don't mind at all with you having your pups there, or your cat or whatever you want.
Switching gears a little bit, let's talk about some of the fun things that you have coming up there this fall. You took over the venue a little late for this wedding season. You have planned some super fun things that I am personally excited about. Would you share those with us?
I had the idea back in January, February ish, that I really want to do some Appalachian themed dinner series there. So my first one is on June 26th, Friday, June 26th. Tickets are on Eventbrite, and they are $85 a piece, and you get a 5-course Appalachian themed dinner, and it comes with a drink pairing for each course as well. Bluegrass Time and Table is collabing with me for that. It's going to be a really cool experience to kind of be out there in the Red River Gorge and to try some food items that are upscale, a little bit nicer with some really nice wine or bourbon pairings, and to be able to mingle and network with other campers and hikers and rock climbers that are out there in that area and businesses too. We're going to see how this first one does. And then if so, then I'm going to start doing them every month out there.
I love that. And we didn't talk a lot about the owners of Johnson Hospitality. It's Shannon and Trevor Johnson. I actually did a podcast with them probably 2 years ago, 3 years ago. No, it's been a minute. I will link that in the show notes. We talked a little bit about their backgrounds. Shayna's been in the industry for quite some time, but the thing to know about her is she is actually from that area, just a little bit past that
Yeah.
area. She knows the food and she knows everything to make sure that it's going to be perfect
Absolutely,
for that.
absolutely. I've been doing my research because, like I said, I'm not from Kentucky, but I did grow up with like a deep South Southern cuisine. So I feel like it'll be a nice play on kind of having my background and then being able to use some, locally sourced ingredients from out there like wild mushrooms and pawpaws, things like that. We're just wanting to kind of incorporate some of those things and offer something that's not really offered out there.
Speaking of food, I know that Bayou Bluegrass Catering also typically does a food tasting every few
Yeah.
months. Do you have one of those coming up
We
this
actually
summer?
do. It is July 19th. It is around $18 a person after taxes and fees, which is a great price. You're getting to come in and try a lot of our items, whether it be appetizers or main courses or sides or desserts. We'll have some other vendors there. You can try some signature cocktails. But you can go on to our website for our open to public events, and it'll take you straight to the link to be able to buy those tickets.
That is great for anyone that is getting married at your venues where you are required to cater, or a venue like that, or even a corporate event. If you've never had their food, this is your great opportunity. They literally prepare any kind of food you could ever imagine. This is a great opportunity to try the food. You have that social event scheduled. Do you have any other ones
I
scheduled yet?
also have a yoga festival coming up. I do yoga myself here and there when I make the time for it. But I have some really great friends that are involved in that world. And they're kind of collabing with me to do a full yoga day. Um, Once I get that posted, I'll make sure I share that with you so you can share it with everyone too. But it'll be an
Yeah,
awesome experience to
absolutely.
come in and you'll have guided meditations, guided yoga practice, guided yoga flows. Bayou Bluegrass Catering will be providing a juice bar, and we'll also be doing some like snacks and lunch with that as well.
And if we could just like on a different one, throw in some puppy yoga or baby goat yoga.
That's definitely on the list. That's definitely on the list. I also just kind of want to start doing some like, mingle mixers too for people who are in the gorge because all these people they're traveling from all over. I mean, there's 1,000 different trails in the gorge. Why not make a place where when they're done hiking and it's getting dark at night, they can come have a cocktail, listen to some bluegrass music, and then mingle with other people from parts of the country.
What is the best way for someone that's listening to reach out and get more information? Schedule a tour if they're from out of state. Can you do a FaceTime with them?
So we've got several different ways that you can get into contact with me for the space. So the number one way is if you go to our John's Hospitality website, there is a event inquiry form on there that you fill out, and you can mark Elderwild on that, and it immediately gets distributed to me. And I have your contact information, and then I personally reach out to you, usually through email and call. I'm definitely a on the phone type person. Like I want to hear your voice, kind of make a personable impression on you and get that tour set up over the phone with you as soon as possible. Because the moment that I get you off the phone and in the space with me, that's when the magic happens. And I just feel like forming that relationship with that client is super important that way. And then the second easiest way would probably be reaching out directly to my email or my phone number. My phone is always on. You know how it is in this business. You are consistently talking to clients and answering questions. So my personal cell and my email are checked every day to make sure that I'm getting those tours scheduled with my clients.
As far as photos, you do have a separate social media account for the property,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, it's just at Elderwild at the Gorge on Instagram. Um, and then our Facebook, Elderwild at the Gorge as well too.
Lacey, thank you so much for joining me. I will share all of Lacey's contact information, all of the venue information, all of Johnson Hospitality information. I know it sounds like a lot. It's something I do every day, so I'm used to talking about the difference. But if you have questions about the difference, let me know. Let Lacey know. We can break it down for you. Lacey, I'm really excited to be working with you and really excited to have your expertise here in Lexington
Thank you
now.
so much. I really enjoyed this.
Wedding planning doesn't have to be overwhelming, and you don't have to do it alone. If you want guidance you can trust, I would love to help. At Simply Love Studio, I offer free wedding consultations where we talk through your vision, your budget, and what steps make the most sense for you. There's no pressure, no obligations, no catches, no gimmicks, just honest advice and support to help you move forward with confidence. You can schedule your free consult anytime at simplylovestudio.com, and I promise you'll walk away with clarity and a plan.